Evolutionary Podcast coming your way. Stevesmi here. And Rick, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
Q&A number 327. We're powering right along. We'll be at 400 before we know it. We're going to talk about 5 good topics, Rick. Let's get to the first one, getting bloods without a doctor. And this is a question that we get asked a lot, especially these days, because it's so hard to go to a doctor. A lot of doctors' offices are closed. A lot of people don't want to go to the doctor. Obviously, going to a place where people are sick is probably not a good idea. So why should you go to a doctor and sit in a room full of sick people just to have him write you some paperwork to take to a lab when you could just go straight to the lab yourself and get blood work without having to go to the doctor? Then you have to go back to the doctor, pay more money to get the results a week later. That doesn't make any sense. So I like to just get my blood work on my own. So I have a link in my signature, Stevesmi. I have a link to a company that you can go online and you can order blood work on your own. You don't need to see a doctor, and they will send you the paperwork by email. You pay whatever for whatever blood work you want. Really, for the basic hormone panel, it's going to be about $70. And I do have a discount code as well in the link. And you can go online and you can, you can order it, print it out, and then take it to the lab yourself, get your blood drawn, and then the next day they'll email you the results. Simple as that. Versus having to waste your time going to a doctor and risk getting sick with all these superbugs that are going around. So to me, that makes more sense. Really, the basic hormone panel, guys, estrogen, LH, FSH, total testosterone. Those are the most important things you want to look for. And then your AST, ALT, which are your liver, kidney values. And then it has your blood glucose level, which is really good to keep an eye on. And it's got a whole bunch of other things it includes in that hormone panel. So you can, again, click on my signature. It leads you to a link on Evo, on evolutionary.org, that will explain all this to you.
So that link on the description of the podcast, right?
Yeah, I'll leave the link on the description of the podcast for sure. And you guys can just click on it. You should see it. If you're on YouTube, you're not going to see a link because YouTube doesn't like links. So just follow the Evo link, or on iTunes, or on, what is it, Google, Rick? What's the other one that we're on?
Oh, we're on Spotify. We're on Google, a podcast.
Okay.
iTunes.
So you should be able to find a link in one of those places. So you can go. But Rick, you recently got this done, right? You got blood work done this way. Did you not?
My situation is a little different because I travel out of the country to South America a lot. So I just get it done when I'm out of the country, because here you can just walk into a lab and get anything you want. So it's sort of like what you can get done for people there, Steve, but here you don't need the doctor's orders. You just walk into a lab, you sit down with the lady at the counter, tell them exactly what you want, what test you want run, and then in a few minutes you're drawing blood, and then you get from the lab, you come and pick up your results later, and you don't really need to involve a doctor. So that's the way I do it, and so I take advantage every time I'm out. I mean, I can't remember last time I got bloods done in the U.S., but yeah, I mean, it's a little different situation for me because I get it done out of the country. And look, if you guys travel out, it's easy. Most places you can walk into a lab and order whatever you want and just get your results. I don't even understand why the U.S. you have to involve a doctor to get blood work. You should be able to request your own blood work, and if you can pay for it out of pocket or whatever, just get it, right, Steve? Though?
Yeah, but I mean, we don't control any of that. I don't discuss that.
How does it work with you? Let's say if the doctor sends that blood work and I've got good insurance, will my insurance pay for the blood work then?
Yeah. If you have good insurance, but it's still, you have to wait a week. I've done it before through a doctor. You have to wait a week. You've come calling the doctor, and it's like.
But will the insurance cover the blood work of the blood test if your doctor orders it? The doctor from the link?
Yeah, you pay a deductible.
Okay.
You still have to pay the deductible. So at the end of the day, it's so much more
I mean, it's
easier.
good because maybe your family doctor won't see your your blood work on cycle. And you can family doctor, unless you're really reporting a problem, you might only get blood work ordered once, maybe twice a year. So if you're on cycle, you could get your own blood work and through the link that Steve provides, and maybe not bring it to the family doc. I mean, look, you should be able to tell your doctor, family, or not everything you're doing, what you're doing. You should have dialogue with your doctor about these things. And if you can't, then maybe you need to find another one or see another doctor that maybe your family that doesn't see the rest of your kids and your wife and whatnot. But you should, it's terrible that we're made to be criminals and we're driven underground for this lifestyle, but ask for help. Any good doctor should be willing to help. Even if they don't fully agree with your use in steroids, they should provide the care and should help you go through your blood work. They should order blood work for you. And this is pretty common, for doctors to get on board with you. Now they know you're doing steroids, and you're not doing it with their approval, but they're still ordering blood work and helping you keep up, making sure you're not fucking yourself up. And you might get a small lecture every time you go in there, but if they're real professionals and they love what they do, they're gonna be happy to take care of you, and they're gonna want to follow up with you out of professional curiosity and to really just learn more from this patient that's doing something different that maybe they wouldn't approve of, but they get to be there and be involved with it and see what happens and how it develops. So, something to think about.
Look, the bottom line, Rick, I can't tell you how many clients have come to me with blood work, and I'm like, what the heck are you showing me? Because doctors don't understand this stuff in the first place. So you go to a doctor and he orders stuff for you, it's not going to do you any good. You have to get the stuff that we need. You need that hormone panel. That's very, very important. You may need an uncapped testosterone test to see if your gear is legit. You're going to need LH, FSH, estrogen. You may need free testosterone. See where your levels are. So these are things that doctors don't have. They don't know.
Doc is if he doesn't know you're on steroids, he's not going to order it. Most of that stuff. I mean, you'd have to walk in there and be like, "Look, here's what I'm taking, and here's what we need," and really open dialogue. Otherwise, just on a regular checkup, you're not going to get testosterone test unless you're reporting a problem. They're not going to run testosterone, right?
But even in that case, Rick, they don't understand this stuff. They don't know what you need. That's why I'm giving you a link to a blood work article that I wrote as well. And you can go through and learn what each thing means, because he's not going to understand the difference between total testosterone and free testosterone. They don't learn that stuff in medical school. Unless he's a bodybuilder himself who uses steroids, he's not going to know the difference between bound testosterone and unbound. He's not going to know the difference between uncapped testosterone testing and capped testosterone. He's going to order you a test that caps it at 1,500. And if you're on 500 milligrams of testosterone, your numbers are going to be 4,000, but it's going to be capped at 1,500. So that doesn't do you any good. So that's why I'm saying it's better just to get it on your own. You know what you're getting, you know what you're ordering, and you get it. And I'm going to include not just the link to how to get it, but I'm going to include what everything means on the blood work, because doctors aren't going to sit with you, Rick, and they're not going to spend an hour going through what each thing means, So, but if you actually go on that thread that I'm linking and you post your blood work, make sure you black out all your personal information. If you post your blood work on that thread, I will for free go through and tell you what's right.
It is
and what's
so hard
wrong.
to find a good doctor, isn't it? It is just so incredibly hard to find a good doctor.
It's hard to find a good doctor unless you know them personally, Rick. If you know them personally, they'll have a vested interest.
I got really lucky. I mean, I have my insurance, as we all do, but I still, when I really need to see a doctor, I see my doctor and I pay out of pocket because he doesn't take insurance. And I'm real lucky that this guy is about to retire. He's probably just not too many years from retiring, old guy in New York City. And he doesn't have a nurse. It's just him and the receptionist. And when you come in, he takes your vitals. He spends time with you. He'll sit there and talk to you, and he remembers everything you spoke about. He can look at his notes and remember everything you went through. He's a real doctor. Like, you, for your money, you have half an hour, 45 minutes of this man's time, and he knows what the fuck is going on with you. He's an incredibly bright guy. And it's so different. it's so different than when you go to a doctor and the nurse brings you into a room, they check your vitals, and then the doctor's in there for a net 3, 4, 5 minutes with you, and then he's out. So I've never really liked that kind of healthcare. I like being able to sit with my doctor and the doctor to know me, and us have a real relationship, and he knows what is up. And I have that, I have that with my good old doc in NYC, and I swing by there when I need to see him. And I also have a doc like that in South America too. And it's just, if there's a good relationship that you can develop is with a good doctor. And if you know your shit, you're not just an idiot, but you know your shit, and you go in there and you talk to your doctor, he's gonna know your shit. He's gonna make a note of it too, I'm sure. And then when you come in there and you say, "Hey doc, I think I might need some of this. I think I might need some of that." As long as you're not asking for anything fucking stupid like a narcotic or something dumb like that, but you're actually needing some PCT or some anti-E's, or you're needing some shit, he's gonna be just fine whipping out his pad and having dialogue with you and saying, "Okay, well, let's try that," and he'll sit there and work with you on it. But you've got to develop that relationship. I think, it's funny. I think some I've seen them out there. Some guys develop a better friendship with their drug dealers, even with their bartenders, than they do with their doctors. And that's probably one of the best friendships you can forge as a bodybuilder, is with your doctor, with a good doctor, and having that relationship with him where he'll do things with you. He'll be on board to prescribe things and work with you in ways that he just won't do with anybody else. Like when you go in there and you establish dialogue with him, and he understands your shit, and you're on this journey, he'll be more willing to fuck with you. But again, you have to find the right doctor. It can't be one of these guys that's just has a nurse take you in. He's in there for net 4 minutes, then he's out. That guy's useless. You'll never have dialogue with him. He'll never give a fuck. You've really just got, and maybe you need to just have that insurance in case of that day, but maybe go out of pocket and find yourself that like really old school doctor that sits there with you and spends the time with you. And it's very hard to find. It's incredibly hard to find. My guys is going to retire, and I'm, I'm hurting already, and he's not even out going yet. I mean, you need that.
All right, guys. So the next question is going to be most cc's you can inject into a muscle. So Rick, we see a lot of stuff on social media and stuff, guys injecting like this massive amounts of cc's into their muscle. It's actually, it's more shock value than anything. But what's the most you've ever injected, and what kind of muscle did you inject in?
So I'm a glute injector. I find the glutes are just very convenient. It's like the perfect muscle to inject. I've done shoulders. I've done biceps. I've done tris. I've done chest a little bit. I've tried quads once or twice. I just find glutes to be the best spot. Shoulders being the second. Biceps being the third for me, just how easy it is to inject. Chest being fourth. And quadriceps, I don't like them much. My buddy, God rest his soul, my buddy Jared, had a really nasty infection on his quads, and you have a lot of overlapping tissues there, and it's not that hard for you to shoot into a pocket that's not going to have a good enough blood flow to disperse that oil when you hit the quads. So some guys love hitting their quads and live by them, and maybe they found just the right meaty spot to go into each time, and it's good. And look, if you can shoot quads, it's actually probably the nicest, most convenient shot you can take. I mean, you're sitting there, you're sitting there, you've got your work right in front of you. You're in a very relaxed position. You work with both hands. It's actually a much easier spot to hit than trying to reach back with one hand and trying to single hand shoot a glute. But infections and just problems with shots and shot and pain and all that, just really bad with quads over the glutes. Now, when it comes to glutes, just when you see a glute, let's say your right glute, you draw an imaginary cross on it, and then the top outer quadrant, the top and outer quadrant of your glute, right or left, that is the part you want. So it's the top of the glute, the top half, and then the top half of the glute that's towards your hip more, not towards your tailbone, obviously, towards the outer part. And that's usually a nice meaty part with not a lot of big, huge veins or anything really, or a lot of nerves running through there. You know, when you hit biceps, when you hit chest, a little bit more painful. Biceps especially, a little bit more tender than shooting the glute. Shoulders to be pretty painless. As far as amounts, glutes, 6 cc's, shoulders, 3 cc's, biceps, 2 to 3. That's about it. You know, I just said quadriceps. I'm not a quad shooter, so I couldn't tell you what to shoot in your quads, but just glutes, you can go as much as 5 to 6 cc's on a glute. One of those big, thick syringes, the 5 cc ones with the little extra 6 one. You could finally shoot 6 cc's into a glute, no problem. You know, the times that I have shot 6 cc's, which tends to happen a lot more often than you would think, it's because I'm using Ganabol 50, which Ganabol 50 is veterinarian grade, bona fide equipoise. So it's bona fide veterinarian grade pharmaceutical, you know, veterinarian manufactured equipoise. And it only comes in 50 milligrams per cc. That's it. So even loading up a syringe with 4 or 5 cc's, you're only getting 200 mgs of EQ. And if I'm doing, you know, 500 milligrams of testosterone with 400 EQ, you know, I'm into injecting, you know, 6, 7, sometimes 8 cc's a week already, just on that cycle alone. 10 cc's easily. 2 cc's of test will bring me to 500 mgs of test, and then I'd have to shoot 8 cc's of Ganabol 50 to get me up to 400 of Ganabol of equipoise that I need. And it's a good mix because human grade test and veterinarian grade EQ. I know I'm not taking in heavy metals. I know whatever amount and milligrams I think I'm taking, I know I'm taking. But yeah, I mean, I've shot that much because of the Ganabol. Yeah, 6 cc's in the glute, 3 in the shoulder, 2 to 3 in the bicep. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, same thing for me. I like, different areas, delts, chest. I don't like glutes. I don't like glutes at all. I like to be able to kind of look down and see what I'm doing. That's why I like the delts, the chest.
The quads? You shoot quads?
You know what? I don't like the quads too much, but I will shoot my right quad. My left quad doesn't like to be injected, but my right quad is okay with it. So both my delts, both my pecs.
It's a comfortable shot, just settling in for it. It's about as comfortable a shot as it gets. Because, I mean, even shooting my chest, you can't really look down. Even shooting your bicep, you're still one-handed it. Glutes, you're one-handed it. But quads is a very comfortable shot. It's just the problem is, gosh, the injection pain and just the chances of you shooting into a weird pocket of something and the oil doesn't want to dissipate for days. I've had this happen.
Yeah. And, so in those areas, I'll do, I like to do 1 cc, maybe 2 cc's, but I've done 3 cc's into like the delts and the quads and stuff.
So your favorite is delt? You're a delt guy?
No, my favorite is the pecs.
Oh, you're a pec shooter.
Yeah. My favorite is definitely the pecs.
I've shot pecs a couple of times. Not my favorite thing by far. I'll make a stop at the biceps or the shoulders before I hit the pecs.
Yeah, it just depends. Everyone's different, but I do like the pecs. And I wouldn't go more than 3 cc's at the end of the day. Just 3 cc's is the max. That's going to be plenty. So if you want to, play with fire, you go higher. So, but I don't really think it's necessary.
Once you find a muscle that you're comfortable injecting, you might be fine just injecting there always. As long as you don't get crazy cycles and where you need cc's and cc's of stuff and then you're rotating sites, or, even at times I did like a lot of prop and a lot of trembolone acetate, and, and the muscles stay sore for a couple of days after injection. So you had to go you have to go right glute, right shoulder, right bicep, left bicep before you could really feel like fine hitting that right glute again. When you're doing these short esters and you're shooting every day or every other day. Or so I remember a couple of times I did test prop, trembolone acetate and EQ is a pretty nice little cycle. And I remember I'd shoot test prop today on even days, trembolone on odd days, test prop on even days, trembolone on odd days. And I was taking a little shot every day and then obviously adding the EQ in there. So I remember rotating sites a lot and getting to a point where like, holy shit, like now I'm hitting triceps because everything's kind of sore. And this is back in the day. I used some veterinarian stuff where injection pain was pretty bad. So look, if you keep your cycles low to not a huge ton of stuff, you only have a cycle where you only need to load 4 or 5 cc's a week. Man, you can do that on your delts very easy, not a lot of pain. I think the most comfortable and painless shot after the glute has to be the delt. You could hit that on there all day long and never have to worry about trying any other part.
All right, guys. So the next topic we're gonna talk about, we have another cool one, is how to protect the heart health in this lifestyle. So Rick, this is one that we brung up kind of pre-show, and you definitely had a lot to say about this one. So, definitely chime in on this one. You have a lot of history with stimulants as well. Talk about that.
Yes, I like stims. I've done ephedra, caffeine, your Himby stack, aspirin. As a guy in my early 20s, I did try a lot of these, and it's just it's some of the more detrimental things to your heart. You're already taking steroids, which you can enlarge your heart. You already put yourself at risk for heart problems. And then you add stimulants to that on top of that. And a lot of steroid users, because they don't drink, they think that they can do like amphetamines or cocaine or some of these other drugs, and that's okay because it's not detoxifying your liver. Well, all that stuff is messing with your heart, and you're putting yourself at risk for heart problems. You add on to that the fact that your cholesterol is going to be all fucked up when you're in cycle mostly. It's going to be pretty high, red blood cell count high. Oh, you add all these things together, and then, man, you're going to throw clenbuterol and albuterol on top of that and then go do cardio? Like, just cut it out. And I'm talking from experience here. I'm like talking to myself when I was in my early 20s. There's just no need for it. If there's anything you can do to save your heart health, is stay away from stimulants of all types. Caffeine, taurine, different story. Caffeine, taurine, guarana, different story there. But when I mean stimulants, is like, albuterol, clenbuterol. I mean, there's no reason those two specifically is no reason to mess with them. And stay away from some of the stimulant drugs like Adderall. Some guys are like recreational, taking Adderall, Ritalin every day. A lot of bodybuilders like partying with cocaine and things like that because they feel it's safe because it's not hurting their liver. And all these stimulants also just letting the steroids let you get too crazy, too upset. Some guys have really bad gut health because of the way you eat in this lifestyle sometimes, and they'll get a little bit of anxiety and some palpitation issues and like panic issues also from bad gut health. And all of those things combined put a stress on your heart, just shorten your heart's lifespan. So if there's anything you can do within this lifestyle as a steroid user to maintain your heart health long term, is eat super clean all the time. Stay away from albuterol, clenbuterol, and those two go hand in hand. If you let yourself get out of shape really badly to where you're looking in the mirror and you're disgusted with yourself and you need to jump on a clenbuterol cycle right now to lose that weight, you just fucked yourself over twice. You ate like shit, which is not good for your heart, and now you're going to take a bunch of fucking stimulants, which is not good for your heart either, right? So if you hadn't gotten out of shape to begin with, eating like shit, you wouldn't need the clen. You could have just ate right fasted, time restricted feeding, just ate right that whole time. You never gotten out of shape, never need the stimulants to begin with. So don't take your heart for granted. It's not all about your liver. It's not all about your kidneys, guys. Your heart is something to really watch over too, especially in this lifestyle. So best thing you can do, eat real clean, stay away from stimulants. You're already taking steroids, which is going to, like I said, directly affect your heart, could make it grow, red blood cell count, cholesterol levels. You're already doing all of that with the steroids anyway. No need to add the stimulants on top of that, the Adderall, the Ritalin, the clenbuterol, the albuterol. These are all, it's no need for that. You're hurting yourself at that point. What do you think, Steve?
Look, here's the thing. Cholesterol, we need cholesterol, guys. Cholesterol, your body needs the cholesterol to make hormones, vitamin D, other substances that helps you digest foods. So when you take these anti-cholesterol medications, because the steroids screwed up your cholesterol, your lifestyle screwed up your cholesterol, you're doing the worst thing you can to yourself, and you're actually screwing yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to understand that, you need the cholesterol is a good thing in the body. It helps regulate stuff. But what happens is when you run steroids, it throws your good cholesterol off, throws your bad cholesterol off, and your total cholesterol is usually going to be super high, above range, above the 200 range. So what you have to do is you have to run steroids smart, and you have to run steroids short. And you don't run steroids if you've got bad lipid health already. It's as simple as that. I suggest a support supplement, N2Guard. Even if you have great heart health before a cycle, you'd be surprised how much a cycle could screw up your heart health very, very quickly as well. Because you're putting on a lot of mass. You're putting on water, fat, muscle very, very rapidly. And that's going to strain your heart as well. So, yeah, it's definitely an issue, guys, across the board. All steroids, and some of them are worse than others. Tren is horrible for your heart health. Other steroids are much more mild. So it really just depends on the steroid itself. But you want to keep an eye on that as well. Run pre-cycle blood work. And if you have problems on cycle, don't be scared to run blood work on cycle as well. All right, guys. So the next one is the last one we're going to talk about is how to approach women to ask out without coming off as a creep.
What were we doing? Were we doing Anavar?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. All right, guys.
Well, you want to skip it, don't you? It's going too long or what?
No, I looked at the wrong one. All right, guys. So the next topic number 4 is why do newbies love Anavar so much? So, Rick, you came up with this question. It's a really, really good question. What made you come up with this question today? What have you noticed?
All right. So it's been a while since I really, really fuck with Anavar on like an Anavar only cycle. And I get a lot of questions about Anavar, mostly newbies. Hit me up on Facebook. They hit me up on DMs and on the forums, and everybody's Anavar crazy. Plus, girls love it too. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna grab myself some fucking Anavar, and I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run an Anavar only cycle, 15 milligrams per day, and we're just gonna rock it out. So I got some oxandrolos from Pharmacon Labs. It is actually comes from a reputable source. I know it's legit stuff, and Pharmacon makes good shit. I've seen some of their tests from people that have sent stuff to test it out, and I fucked with Pharmacon, so I gave it a shot. I've been on it for over a week. I mean, I'm doing all the other good things. Diet is on point, training, taking my insulin, taking my Generate ES, putting on the Young Hand Flame. I am losing some body fat. Don't think I'm losing much muscle mass, but it's not that strong. It just doesn't feel. I really came to the conclusion. I remember why I don't use Anavar anymore. For less money, I could be running just a light testosterone cycle, very light, and get comparable results. I might be maybe a little bit water puffier, a little bit more water puffiness, because obviously I'm going to have some aromatization. But I don't think the Anavar is like drying me out crazy either. You know, I don't. So I think bang for the buck, I would have gotten. I'd be a lot happier with the. I know I'd be a lot happier with testosterone right now. That's what I'm thinking. And it still remains to be seen. I still have just over 2 more weeks on the cycle. It's gonna be a quick 4-week run to see where I can get. I'm taking some before and after pictures and do some articles about it. I might even do a little pamphlet for Amazon for you guys that you can read on your Kindle or download off of Amazon, or maybe even have print on demand. I don't know, but I'm going through it now. Let's see what I can do with this cycle. Let's see how far it can get me. But yeah, man, for the price, I got to tell you guys, man, for the price, Anavar, there's other stuff out there. If you're a female, your choices are limited. Anavar is it. But if you're a newbie, if you're a dude, probably not the best. Now, Anavar will have its place for guys who are doing other stuff, as part of a complete cutting cycle. As part of a complete cutting cycle, Anavar will surely have its place, especially if you bump it up maybe to 60 mgs. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's not a bad steroid. But for the money, for the price, I think you can save some money, go with testosterone, and just be more consistent, be extra clean with your diet, extra discipline with your training. And once you flush some of that little extra water out after your testosterone cycle, you might see better results than just on Anavar. What do you think, Steve? What is your
Well,
opinion?
I like Anavar as a mild compound to add to a more androgenic compound. Example, I ran Trend with Anavar, and I hit my personal records in strength and size on that stack. So that stack worked really well for me. And the nice thing about the Anavar, you can add it to Trend and it won't increase the side effects, but it's going to give you that extra little mild anabolic kick to the cycle to kind of yin and yangs really well with another androgen. So what you're experiencing, Rick, is the whole point of running Anavar. You don't feel much on it. You don't feel much. It's a very mild compound. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and it's not going to be something for everybody. Now, if you were to run Trend, let's say you went on Trend Ace, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm getting these crazy side effects. I'm getting these crazy results really, really fast. That's what you would run if you want fast results. But Anavar is something, it's kind of like Primo, same thing. It's not something that's going to be, it's not going to be an overnight thing. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
And I will say this, if you're a newbie, it's like a steroid cycle on training wheels if you're a newbie, because I just said I'd be happy with testosterone, but I know how to use AIs. I know how to work with tests. I know how to look in the mirror and know how much is bloat and how much is actual gains and what's going on. So because of my experience, I could make the most out of that investment. But yeah, for a newbie, I guess, really going full circle my thinking here. You don't have to worry about anti-estrogens. You don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Just take some Entugard to make sure to keep your liver healthy, and I guess you're good to go. I guess that's why newbies love it. Yeah, I mean, there no skin side effects for sure. My skin is great. I would have maybe a little bit more skin issues on testosterone. No water retention. It is just expensive. It's probably the part that I've had the hardest time getting over is the milligram per milligram cost, where I feel as though, like testosterone, and I already have a little bit of anti-E's lying around if it really brought me to that, and tweak it up, and man, it's be a really inexpensive cycle, get some great progress on it. But if you're a newbie, you don't have AIs lying around, you don't know how to tweak them up, you don't know much of anything. I guess just taking the oxandrolone, taking those tablets 5 times a day is pretty convenient and not much to worry about. And plus, obviously, I've used steroids before. I've used other stuff. So Anavar is not quite as strong on me, but if you get a real newbie, hasn't done too many cycles, it's not even holding on to a lot of mass, is not too far past their genetic limits, you're probably going to get some really pretty decent results on the Anavar, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, stacking steroids is a method to the madness of stacking steroids. I've said this for years, but guys don't want to listen. So with Anavar, if you're running Anavar with another mild compound like Primo, and you're like, oh, I'm not feeling much, I'm not getting much. Well, yeah, you're running 2 mild compounds. You should run Anavar with an androgen. Then you'll start noticing that's where you start getting the power to the cycle. That's where you start getting the power. And on the flip side, you run an androgen. It's a good idea to stack Anavar with it because it's not going to cause side effects to go nuts. And Anavar is very mild. Guys are like, oh, it's bad for your liver. It's bad for your cholesterol. No, not really. It's not that bad. Compared to other steroids, it's not. So it's a good option to add to a cycle in any way you slice it. But it is expensive. And the price is an issue for a lot of people.
Hey guys, so this is just a quick edit by me that was done a couple of weeks after the podcast was recorded. My cycle is done. I look great. If you'd like to see my before and after pictures, go to www.anavarbook.com. There you'll be able to see the pictures and you'll be able to subscribe so that you can get a discounted copy of the book once it becomes available. In the book, I will be documenting my journey through the cycle and how I got the results that I got on it. It'll be a real eye-opener for any guys out there looking to do a cutting cycle with Anavar. It'll show you just the way to do it right. All right, guys, that was it. Just a small edit by me. Now we're back to the show.
All right, guys, so the last question is how to approach women without coming off as a creep. So this is a tough one. I actually read a forum post about it, and a woman was saying that she doesn't like how guys creep on her at the gym and they follow her to her car and they ask her out. And then all the other women chimed in on the thread and they said the same thing. They're like, yeah, these guys are so creepy, blah, blah, blah. I just want to work out, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and on the flip side, I understand the situation. I mean, if I had a girlfriend, I wouldn't want guys creeping on her at the gym. I completely get it. But on the flip side, how in the world are you supposed to ask a girl out? I mean, if you can't even approach her. So at least these guys had the balls to approach a woman and, ask her out, even if you turn them down. But I mean, so this is kind of one of those things. I think these days with the internet and with all these social media, you got the social media, you've got the apps, the dating apps, you got the dating websites, and people just don't know how to talk to each other anymore. They don't know how to go up to a girl and ask her out. Now they'll ask her out via text message, or they'll ask her out via Facebook message or on a dating app or something like that. And that's one of those things. I'm kind of weird, Rick, and you're probably the same way because we didn't grow up with the internet, but we started getting the internet when we were like in our late teens and into college. We basically, the internet started blowing up. So we didn't experience that, but now you're having 12, 13-year-olds who are growing up with the internet and with computers. And if they want to ask a girl out that they like in school, they're not going to go to school the next day and ask her out. They're going to basically ask her out on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever. So I kind of get that. So it just depends. I'm just curious because you like to date, younger women. You're into the father-daughter fantasy. So is that something that you have to ask women out through social media, or is that something you have to kind of like, because they're all on social media and stuff, and the women I date, mature women, I like the mature women, I like the MILFs. So women in their 40s, the most beautiful women, by the way. I love it. I love their skin.
Got the mother fantasy.
They got that skin. They got those floppy breasts. Oh, I love it. I love like the skinny milfs. Those are hot. So, but have you noticed a difference? Would you like to date? You're into the father-daughter fantasy. You like to date women half your age. So tell us about that.
That's a good intro for a question. Thank you for leading me in like that. That's lovely. All right. So the core of the question is, how do you ask? What is the core of the question? How do you ask a girl out of the gym without seeming like a creep? What is the core of the question? The gym or just
the core
in
of the
general?
question is how do you ask a girl out these days? How are you asking women out? Well, tell me the last woman you went out with. How'd you ask her out?
So that's pretty broad because it sounded difficult at the gym because a lot of women don't go to the gym made up, looking pretty, so they don't feel as pretty at the gym. Maybe some of them. So it's a little bit different of a dynamic. But just in general, how can you ask women out without seeming like a creep? And here's the rule of thumb. Just don't be a creep. Don't be a fucking creep. Be a desirable man. Be a desirable person. Be a desirable individual. Don't be a fucking creep. How are you a creep? If you got a girl or you're in a relationship that you're just not happy with because you settled, because you just couldn't stay by yourself for a while, and now you're trying to mess with another girl, disrespecting your relationship, that's creep level stuff. And granted, a lot of women lend themselves to get involved in love triangles. So do men. But as a general rule of thumb, that's just creep behavior. If you're not happy with the mate, the potential mate, just don't be with somebody out of being lonely. And then you don't get stuck in a bad relationship. And then you got to be a creep trying to engage someone while you're having to justify yourself for being in a relationship with somebody. It's just creep fucking behavior. So don't start off with that. 2, just don't be fucking desperate and don't be lonely. Be about your goals. Be focused on yourself, on your goals, on your growth as a person, as a professional, as a human being. And then you're going to just attract attention if you lift that and you are that every day. And you're not lonely and you're not miserable and you're not overeating and you're not skipping workouts because you're not disciplined and you're eating like shit because you don't have any self-control or you're eating things that are bad for your health and they're not conducive towards your goals because you just can't deal with that feelings inside. See, if you got all these fucking things going on inside of you and you're out there trying to bring somebody else into your fucked up, sick ass world, you're a creep, right? So then don't be a fucking creep. Don't be lonely. Don't settle. Be about your goals every single day. Don't just be a spectator. Be a doer. And as you live that life, as you are that guy, now you're not a creep anymore. Now when you approach a female and you establish a conversation with her and you dialogue with her, now you're someone interesting. You're someone that's got something else to offer. And if she doesn't seem that interested, man, your life is so incredible. And you've got so many things you're working on and so many projects that are keeping you busy that you're fine to just let that ass go. Let her go on down the fucking line. Who gives a fuck? You've got things to do. If she's not going to be reciprocal in your attention, then you need to just keep doing you and keep building you. And then when the girl that comes around that is reciprocal with your attention, then you work on that. But one of the first things also you need to do, not be a creep, is just let the fuck go. If you try to talk to her, maybe you get a first date with her and things just don't work out, if she just stops calling, then just your life is full of projects, of things you need to do, of goals you have, of things you're working on daily. So you don't have time to go search for her. You don't have time to be after her. As a matter of fact, if she becomes too absent from your life, you're just going to forget about her because you've got fucking goals and projects and things you're working on a daily fucking basis. And when you're all of that, that's when you stop being a creep. All right. That's when any advances you make on a female are not creep like, when you're that motherfucker and you walk around like that every day. But Besides that, bro, like you're a fucking creep, dude. If you act like a creep and you live like a creep, you're a fucking creep. And that's the bottom line. That's it.
I think women complain about guys checking them out at the gym, following them around. I see this behavior all the time. And, that's a creep. You follow the girl around and you follow her to her car. Like right when she's leaving the gym, you like get your shit together. You're like, and then you run out the door to follow her to her car. And you like go up to her in her car and you try to chicken out at the last minute. And then you walk away. And then she'll notice that and then the next day you'll do the same thing. You'll almost ask her out, and then you'll chicken out again. And she'll know that she's like, man, this guy's a fucking creep. This guy's a fucking serial killer. He's like following around. Little does she know, you just want to ask her out to fucking.
Man, let me tell you something. Before you start following a woman to her car, she needs to have given you so many signals, bro. She needs to have just waved the fucking checker flag all the way in. Before you step outside of a fucking gym or a restaurant anywhere, start following some lady to her car, man. Like, you just don't do shit like that. That's fucking creepy. Like, yeah, you could follow a girl or her car. Shit, even make sure she's fine getting to her car in a parking lot late at night or whatever. Once she's waved the checker flag, once she's giving you all the signals that you can do that. Once she's engaged you in front of other people and maybe you're following each other on social and set what's up, and then you can conversate with her as you're speaking to her, walk to her car. Then shit, you could be coming in when she's leaving and just walk across the fucking parking lot, no problem, and go up to her and lean in her window, and even say goodbye with a kiss. Once you got the door to do that. But if you don't notice, lady, following her to her car in the middle of the night, probably not the best approach to ask her out. Probably not. You wait until she gives you those fucking signals. You wait until you at least establish 2 or 3 conversations with her in a safe place before you do any dumb shit like that. Look, Steve was just talking about social. Here's the best thing. You meet people in person, follow them on social. It's a lot easier to ask to follow someone on Instagram than it is, or Facebook, than it is to ask them for their phone number. Be active on social yourself. At some point, they're going to throw you a like. When they throw you a like, they're showing a little tiny more interest. And then you can conversate. And you can ask someone out on social. You met them in person, and you use social as a way to kind of communicate, just keep up a little bit, comment on each other's shit a little bit. You can use that and say, hey, what you were doing today, bike riding, what gym is that? Looks fun. I want to go check that out. And then if she says, hey, this activity is that way, go that way, then she's not down. But if she says, hey, yeah, that activity, yeah, we can go do that, then she's interested. And that's a really light way to know if she's even a little bit interested. See something she's doing on social, something she publishes, good restaurant, another gym she's at, something she's doing. If you've already got a little bit of report, comment on her, where, hey, that looks fun. If she sends you away to go do it by yourself, you know what's up. If she tries to incorporate, then you know what's up. It's real simple, man. And you're not a creep if you make sure to just take the signals. And you'll be fine if you're always working on yourself, on your projects, on your shit, on your life, on yourself. And then everything is easy. Everything's fine after that point.
All right, guys. Hope you guys learn a lot from this podcast. We'll do another Q&A next week. Keep it coming, guys. Keep the reviews coming. For Stevesmi and Rick, another episode of Evolutionary Radio. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.